Hi, welcome to my channel, JaberTime. I'm gonna go over quadratic function forms. We have three forms, as you could see: standard form, vertex form, and factor form. Let's get into it. The vertex form is y equals a times x minus h to the second plus k. If a is positive, the graph or the parabola will open up. If a is negative, the graph will open down, and the vertex will be h and k, this part here and this part here. Pay attention to the minus sign and the plus sign. In some examples, if there is no minus sign here, it has to be the opposite. So we'll see some examples. The axis of symmetry will be x equals h. This is part 1. So next week I'm going to do part 2 with some graphs. The factored form is a times x minus r1 multiplied by x minus r2, where r1 and r2 are called the roots or the zeros, where the graph crosses the x-axis. One more time, I'm going to have more graphs as video part 2 next week. One more time, if a is positive, the graph will open up. If a is negative, the graph will open down. And the roots will be r1 and r2, where the graph is going to cross the x-axis. Now to find the vertex is going to be right in between the roots, because the graph is going to be symmetric. So if it crosses at, let's say, 2 and 4, the vertex will be in between, which is at 3. Of course, how do you find the exact value or order pair of the vertex? You plug in 3 to find the value of the output. We'll do more of that with graphs one more time next week. The axis of symmetry will be the line, the vertical line that goes through the vertex, and it's going to be x equals r1 plus r2 over 2, which is the x coordinate of the vertex. The standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. One more time, if a is positive, it's going to open up, and if a is negative, it's going to open down. The vertex will be minus b over 2a, this b and this a, minus b over 2a, and whatever comes out from plugging that much into the equation itself, the output. The axis of symmetry will be also the x coordinate of the vertex, and the y-intercept from the standard form is the c part. Why? Because when the graph crosses the y-axis, x equals 0. And if x equals 0, this will cancel and this will cancel. You will only be left with c value. And that's where the graph is going to cross the y-axis. Let's do some practice problems, and I'll do more examples with graphs next week. Here's a quick example. This is a vertex form, and all what they want is the axis of symmetry. The answer is 3 right here. Let me show you more details. If this is the function and you want to compare it to the vertex form, this is the h part, and this is 3 right after the minus sign. So x equals h, which is x equals 3, will be the axis of symmetry. Here is a factored form, and the axis of symmetry, one more time, is x equals 1. How do you get 1? From the notes, we could compare it to the factored form, and the zeros will be r1 and r2. Since this is a plus, r1 has to be negative 5. Because this is supposed to be written as x minus r1, and I could see this as x minus negative 5. So you have to be careful. If it's a plus 5, you need to write minus 5. Here's another reason why. Plug in negative 5 right here. Negative 5 plus 5 will be 0. And that will cancel the whole thing. 2 times 0 times negative 5 minus 7, whatever that is, negative 12, will be 0. Any product that has a 0 as part of the factors will be 0. That's called the principle of zero products. A times b equals 0, That means either A equals 0 or B equals 0, or of course both. On the second part, R2 equals 7, which is compared to this right here. Now to find the axis of symmetry, I mentioned that it's right in the middle because the graph is symmetric about the axis of symmetry. So the roots will be to the right and left with equal distance. So we need to find the average of the roots to get to the middle, which is called average. x1 plus x2 over 2, those x1s and x2, the roots. Negative 5 plus 7 over 2, that's a 2 over 2, which is 1, as what we have here. This is a standard form, and they want the axis of symmetry. The answer is negative 3/4, and let's see how we get negative 3/4. The formula says the axis of symmetry will be minus b over twice a, minus 6 over twice 4. This is what I have. Minus 6 over 8, divide by 2, I get negative 3/4 to agree with this answer. Now, I kept the notes on the right side so you could slow down and pay attention to it. You could stop the video by hitting the space bar, and if you hit the space bar again, it will play back again. Let's see what we could do for the standard form right here. Some benefits of the standard form, as you could see right there. First of all, the vertex. We know how to find the vertex. We take minus b over twice a. That's minus b over twice a. And the output of that. This simplifies to negative 3. You could divide between 18 and 2, that's a 9. So it's negative 9 over 3, which is negative 3. Go ahead and plug in negative 3 here, and plug in negative 3 here, and you should end up with 86. That would be the vertex. The axis of symmetry will be just minus b over 2a, as the note says, which was found right here, negative 3. The y-intercept will be 0 and 5. This is the C part right there. Here's another example of standard form. I kept the notes one more time. The vertex, minus b over twice a, but a is not stated here. We agreed that if the number is not shown here, it's 1. 1x to the second, not 2 or not 3. So a should be 1. So minus b over twice a, minus 6 over 2 times 1, minus 6 over 2 is also negative 3, just like the previous example. But when you plug in negative 3 in the equation, you don't get the same answer like last time. It's negative 13. That is the vertex. Well, you know the axis of symmetry is going to be just the x-coordinate. Just the x-coordinate of the vertex. And the y-intercept will be 0 and negative 4. The C part goes right here. One more example. Standard form again. The vertex will be minus b over twice a, that's minus 40 over 2 times negative 5, minus 40 over negative 10, negative cancels, I get 4. Go ahead and take your time and plug in 4 right here, and you should get 81. That is the vertex. The axis of symmetry is the x part, which is 4, and the y-intercept will be 0 and 1. 0, 1, I mean. Here's the vertex form. The benefits of the vertex form: always a is involved in every form, opens up and opens down. The vertex will be h and k compared to this form right here, and the axis of symmetry will be the x part of the vertex. So let's apply it here. The vertex is h and k minus and plus, so straightforward, a 5 and a 6. Axis of symmetry will be 5, x equals 5, and that should do it. One more time, another vertex form, but notice here it's a plus. but it's supposed to be compared to the formula minus. So I believe this was x minus -4. So you have to be careful to that. The +9, the plus k is still the same. So the vertex is -4, 9. And the axis of symmetry will be the x coordinate of the vertex, which is -4. Let's take now a different form, a factored form. The factored form has its own benefits. To look for the zeros, it's just R1 and R2 compared to this one, right after the minuses, because 3 will make this 0, 5 will make this 0, and those are called roots or zeros where the graph is going to cross the x-axis. The axis of symmetry will be the point right in between 3 and 5, and if you do the math, it's 4. And it does make sense, because if the graph opens up and crosses the x-axis at 3 and 5, the line of symmetry will be right in the middle, because it's called line of symmetry. What's on right and what's left, it's going to be symmetrical. So it has to be 4, but sometimes it's not that easy to see the numbers, fractions, decimals, negatives. Just do the math and apply the formula right here, and you should be fine. Let's look at the vertex. The vertex will be this right here. So we have 4 and its output. Take the 4 and take your time, plug it in. Let's do that quick. 4 minus 3 is 1. 4 minus 5 is -1. So I have 2 times 1 times -1, which is -2. Let's take another factored form. This opens up, crosses the x-axis at 2 and 4. Zeros will be 2 and 4. Axis of symmetry will be right in between, which is 3. The vertex will be the average of the roots, which is 3, and its output, 3 and -5. Let's take one more that is not always minus minus. Here's a +1. A is 1, opens up. The first root is -2, because that's supposed to be x minus -2 to compare to this. And the second root is 8. So the zeros will be -2 and 8. The axis of symmetry will be right in between. And you do the math, -2 plus 8 over 2. That's 6 over 2, which is 3. The vertex will be 3 and its output. And if you take your time, plug it in, it's going to be -25. That should do it for this video. I'm going to have another one next week with more details and more examples and more graphs. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to see some more, and I'll see you in the next one.